All right, so today we're going over Form COP, also known as Contingency for Sale of Buyer's Property. Believe it or not, I've done this video a couple times and it just keeps being too long and I'm like, nobody wants to watch this stuff. So I'm going to try to make this one as short and sweet as possible. This is an addendum to the purchase contract. So if your buyer is buying a home and they need to sell their home, this is the form you're using. You're saying it's contingent on that sale. Number one is how long the contingency is. It's either as long as it takes for the closing of their property or however long you put on the RPA. So make sure the RPA date is after this date if your buyer's home is already in escrow. 1B says that it can only be removed in writing, and even if the buyer does remove the contingency in writing, they still have to show proof of funds and remove loan contingency for this to remain in place. And it also says that once the buyer sells their home, obviously this contingency is no longer in place because the home sold. Section 2, you would check this box if your buyer's property is not yet in escrow. Here you'll check whether it is or is not listed. If it is listed, put the broker, that's your company name, and the MLS number. If you don't have the MLS number, just put TBD. B says the buyer has 17 days to get their home into escrow. If you need more time, put it here. 3 is if your buyer's property is already in escrow. You check this box. You'll put the date it's supposed to close. You'll put who escrow is and if you have it, an escrow number. If this property that's already in escrow cancels, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Buyer has 5 days to provide proof of the escrow info in here. Moving on, number 4 says that if this home that's already in escrow cancels, then you have 2 days to let the seller know. Section 5 is all about the rights of the seller to cancel. So the seller can basically give you a notice to perform, to provide documentation that your property closed if it hasn't by this time up here. The second reason they can do that is if you fail to provide this escrow evidence after the 17 days, or if it's already in escrow within the 5 days. So the third reason that the seller can cancel is if your contingent property that was in escrow cancels. And then the fourth reason, which we'll get into later, is Section 8A. And Section 8 down here, one of the most important sections. But before we hit that, the buyer does have the right to cancel. Here's the reasons, but it's basically if you don't get your home into escrow or if you decide not to move forward. 7A is important because it says that all the time periods in your RPA start the day of the RPA. The only way to get around that is to check this box, and checking this box says that your time period for like your inspection contingencies, if you put 30-day close of escrow. If you don't check this box, it means that you have 30 days from acceptance to close. If you check this box, which I recommend, it means that your inspection contingencies and your close of escrow time periods, all the time periods start after you get your buyer's home into escrow. So that's an important box. B says that your buyer's deposit is due into escrow right away as soon as this is accepted. Or if you check this, then it's 3 days after your contingent property goes under contract. Number 8 is the most important, and I get the most questions about this. I probably get asked about this once a week, so this will be really important. It basically says that the seller of this property that you're offering on can continue to market the property and they can accept backup offers. And if they accept the backup offer, and they do have to give you a copy in writing, then they can ask you to immediately remove your contingency. They can ask you to immediately remove your loan contingency, and they can also ask you to immediately provide proof of funds that you can close without selling your replacement property, which basically means prove that you're a cash buyer, which you're probably not. Otherwise, why would you have this contingency, right? So that's A. How do we get around that? Well, we check this box right here. If you check this box, it means that your seller can't ask you to remove those 3 contingencies for 17 days. And if you want to make it more than 17 days, you can fill in a number right there. And if you check this box also, it means during the entire agreement, which is the time period that you put on your RPA, they cannot ask you to remove those contingencies for a backup offer. So we like to check this one, and we like to check this one. So that's about it. I'm going to wrap this up.